Hello, and welcome to my presentation on process essays. This form of writing is often taught in first-year composition courses. What is a process? Quite simply, a process essay tells you how to do something. In other words, it lists the steps and the order to perform them. So a process is a form of writing that tells you how to do something or how a process is performed. Now, right off the bat, let's test your knowledge. See what you know about process. Read these two paragraphs to yourself. Then decide which one talks about a process. At this point, you might want to pause the video. All right, I'll read the paragraphs aloud. Number 1. Our little fishing boat was securely tied to the pier. It bobbed slightly in the sparkling, crystal clear water as the waves lapped up and down. The little outboard motor sat idle, waiting for us to start it. All right? The second paragraph. To get the best fishing spot in Lake Harrison, start your motor and go due east for 4 miles until you come to Cabot's Cove. Quietly row to the inlet without disturbing the fish. All right, so have you decided which one reflects a process? Hopefully you chose the second paragraph. Start your motor. Go due east. These are all telling people how to do something, right? So the second paragraph is the process paragraph. Let's move on. Take a look at these topics, possible topics, and decide which ones, once again, reflect a process or ask you to identify a process. Again, you might want to pause the video. All right, let's take a look at our options. How do you frost a birthday cake? What does poison ivy look like? How do you put gas in a car? Who is the most attractive movie star? How do you give a dog a bath? All right, so here are the answers. Hopefully you guessed correctly. 1, 3, and 5 are topics that talk about process. There are 2 kinds of process, and depending on your textbook, you may encounter similar but slightly different words. First is a directional process. It is something that can be directly performed. For example, someone can make a sandwich or change a flat tire. These are things that you can tell someone how to do, and they can in turn perform the steps in the way you tell them to. So this is a directional process. Second, operational. In an operational process, the stages or the steps involved cannot be performed by another person. You can describe them, you can understand them, but you cannot perform them. A good example is processes in nature, such as how a tornado forms or the stages of childbirth. We cannot go out and do these, can we? No, you cannot literally create a baby through the stages of development is what I mean. Yeah, to some extent you can create a baby, but that's not what I'm talking about. No. You cannot start a tornado from beginning to end and tell someone how you did it. No, so these are processes that you cannot perform, but you can describe them. All right, moving forward, here is another knowledge check for you. Ordering the steps of a process. So, pretty simple, right? Peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm sure you do it all the time. I did it just the other day. But it's a little different when you have to look at the steps and really think about how you go about this process, because I'm sure it comes second nature to you. So take a moment to look at these statements, to look at these steps, possible steps in making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You might want to pause the video at this point so that you can really put them in order. Let's see what you know. All right, so whenever I have given this exercise to my composition courses, I have gotten a lot of variance challenges to the numbers of these steps. I always hear, well, I don't do it like that. I put the plate out first and whatever. So pretty much here are the steps in sequence to making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Number 1, get out 2 slices of whole wheat bread or whatever bread you like. Second, spread peanut butter on 1 slice of bread. So far, this sounds reasonable, right? 3, add a thin layer of strawberry jelly on top of the peanut butter. Or, where else could you put it? On the other slice of bread. Yes, I know. Very good. 4, add the top slice of bread. So far, so good. 5, put the sandwich on the plate. 6, cut the sandwich into halves. So whether or not this reflects your style of making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, the steps here are fairly reasonable, the way that we have them ordered here. All right, very good. Let's talk about imperative statements, because one thing you do not want to do when you're writing a process, paragraph, or a full essay is to keep repeating you all throughout your essay. So the imperative are command statements, right? With an understood you, which will help you to avoid repeating the word you all throughout your process. So process essays often use sentences written with an understood you or an imperative statement. They're also command statements. Some of you have learned that way. Imperative statements are commands and are used to give direction. Process is all about giving direction, if you're talking about a directional process in particular. Instead of writing the word you, throughout the essay, write sentences using the imperative format. Let's take an example of how to do that. Put a quarter in the gum machine, then turn the handle, right? Put a quarter in the gum machine, then turn the handle. Now, you can visualize telling someone to do this. They are the understood you. The subject of the understood you is the person performing the action. Let's say you were telling your little 5-year-old to put a quarter in the gum machine, then turn the handle. It's understood that you're talking to the 5-year-old. So once again, an imperative statement does not require the word you in the sentence, but there is an understood you, an implied you. All right, so your turn. Read these statements and make them into imperatives. Make them into command statements that do not include the word you. So the trick is for you to delete the you, but revise the sentence in the way so that it still makes sense. All right, pause the video here if you like before we move on to the answers. All right, how did you do? Yes, some of you guessed it, right? You, all you had to do was to scratch out the you. For example, sentence 1, to make a root beer float, put 2 scoops of ice cream in a tall glass. That would be vanilla ice cream for me. 2, then pour cold root beer over the ice cream. You can just skip the you and the sentence still makes sense. Next, top the ice cream with some whipped cream. Last, put a cherry on top of the float. Sounds pretty good. But all you had to do was scratch out the you. You did not have to rewrite or rework the sentence in order for it to make sense. In this exercise, you simply had to scratch out the you. All right, very good. Let's move on to transitional words. Since process essays rely on chronological order or time sequence, phrases that signal the main steps to be performed are helpful to the reader. Once again, transitions move you from one step to the next. Here are examples of words and phrases that you might use or read in a process essay. Words like at first, initially, begin by, first, second, third. You can also go fourth, fifth, etc., until, after, then, next, later, before, when, while, during, meanwhile, finally, last. Here's another knowledge check, another exercise for you. Read the paragraph and then find the transitional words in the paragraph. You might want to, again, pause the video so that you can actually complete the exercise before moving on to the answers. All right, I'll read the paragraph aloud. You should first get out 4 hamburger buns. Second, spread mustard on top of each bun. Third, put a slice of turkey and a slice of Swiss cheese in each bun. Then, wrap each bun in a sheet of aluminum foil. Next, put the sandwiches on a baking sheet and put them in a 350-degree oven for 20 minutes. Finally, remove the sandwiches from the oven and serve them piping hot. So, did you pick out the transitional words or phrases? Let's see. There you go. Some are embedded within the sentence. Most are located at the very beginning of the sentence. First, second, third, then, next, finally. Those are all of the transitional words and phrases used in this short paragraph. All right, let's test your knowledge again. Why? Because you now have an understanding of what process is, what a process essay is. Now let's make sure. I always like to include several exercises to make sure you are comprehending the information we're giving here. So once again, pause the video. Your directions are to first delete the irrelevant detail. There's a sentence in here that does not belong with the rest of the sentences. Scratch that out first. Then put the remaining steps in order. You number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever the steps are. But first you have to delete the irrelevant detail. All right, take a pause and complete the exercise. All right, how did you do? Did you get them? The irrelevant detail is the statement that reads, I am one of those morning people who thinks better before lunch than in the afternoon. That has nothing to do with the steps that are being presented here. So the first step, I awake at 6:30 a.m. This is someone's morning routine. 2, brushing my teeth, shaving, and showering follow one another so quickly they are like one step. That sounds reasonable. 3, while toweling off, I decide what I will wear and think of everything I need for the day. 4th step. Next, I race to the kitchen to make breakfast. 5, I eat breakfast in bits while dressing and packing my backpack. Again, this may not be the exact way you do things in the morning, but the steps as they are presented here are in reasonable order, which is what we are looking for. All right, here are a couple special features that you may or may not see in process writings and essays. A tip, a special technique that will improve or maximize the process or the product that is produced. Let's say you are teaching someone to make your famous spaghetti, and your tip is to add oregano. Oh, that just really sets it off for you. That is an example of a suggestion that will maximize the spaghetti, right? Maximize your recipe. So that's a tip. You see it all the time on the Food Network. All right, a warning. An alert of potential danger or harm if the process is not performed correctly. All right, if you are trying to tell someone how to put antifreeze in their radiator, you want to warn them not to do it while the car is hot. Right, you don't want to open that gasket when the car is hot, because why? Fluid can spew in your face and burn you. That is a good example of a warning. So if you are telling someone the steps to complete a process, and if they do not perform it correctly, something awful could happen. That is a warning that you must put in your writing, or that you must inform the person of who is completing the steps. All right, with all of that, this is the end of my presentation. Hopefully it has been helpful to you. Happy writing!